Meet Mark. He's 42, has a good job, and for the last 20 years he's done everything he was told. He worked hard, saved his money, and trusted his bank to keep it safe. But after 2 decades of playing by the rules, Mark has almost nothing to show for it. How is that possible? Because this isn't a story about Mark's mistakes. It's a story about a system that's designed to profit from them. The truth is, your bank has been engineered to keep you in a cycle of debt and dependency. And in this video, we're exposing their entire playbook. Once you see it, you'll never look at your bank the same way again. Let's get one thing straight. Your bank is not your friend. It's not a public service or a community charity. It's a for-profit machine, and its main product isn't security. It's debt. Its main service isn't making your life easier. It's making money off your financial life. We're taught to see banks as the bedrock of our finances, a place to deposit our paychecks, save for the future, and get a loan for a car or a house. So when things go wrong, we blame ourselves. We get angry about that overdraft fee or for not paying off a credit card fast enough. We think, I just need to be more disciplined. But what if the game is rigged? The modern banking system has gotten very good at making money. Of course, they still use the classic model, lending out your deposits at a much higher interest rate than they give you. But a huge and growing slice of their income now comes directly from you in the form of fees. This non-interest income has ballooned since the 1980s and makes up a massive part of their revenue. That's not an accident. It's a business model. A model that doesn't thrive when you're winning, but when you're struggling. It feeds on instability. It cashes in on mistakes. Today, we're revealing the 5 biggest traps in this system, the ones engineered with cold, hard math to keep you poor. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Let's start with the most obvious trap, the overdraft fee. On the surface, it sounds fair. You spend money you don't have, you pay a penalty. Simple mistake, simple fee, right? Not quite. Overdraft isn't a customer service. It's a multi-billion-dollar profit machine. Even with new rules aiming to cap these charges, banks raked in an estimated $9 billion from overdraft fees in recent years. And while many big banks have promised to reduce or eliminate these fees, some still charge up to $35 for a single overdraft, and recent data showed overdraft income was actually climbing again at several major institutions. But here's the really sneaky part, the trick they used for years. It was a policy of reordering your daily transactions. Instead of processing them in the order they happened, they'd process them from largest to smallest. Imagine you have $50 in your account. You buy a coffee for $5 in the morning. Later that day, a $60 utility bill hits. Chronologically, the coffee clears, and only the $60 bill overdrafts. That's one fee. Maybe $35? But if the bank processes the largest one first, the $60 bill sends your account negative immediately. Then, they process the $5 coffee. Now it's also an overdraft. Suddenly, you're hit with 2 fees for a total of $70, all from a system designed to maximize your penalties. This practice is less common now due to regulations, but it perfectly shows the mindset. Turn a small mistake into a cascade of debt. Think about the interest rate on that. If you overdraft by $5 and get hit with a $35 fee that you pay back in a week, you've just paid an interest rate that's effectively in the thousands of percent. It's predatory lending hiding in plain sight. And who pays the price? Not the wealthy. It's people living paycheck to paycheck. About 11% of American adults with a bank account paid an overdraft fee last year. The data shows it's not just about low income, but about having no other safety net. The system is built to hit the most vulnerable people the hardest. This isn't a penalty for being irresponsible. It's a tax on being poor. The next trap is quieter, but just as nasty. It's the monthly maintenance fee, a charge you have to pay for the privilege of letting the bank hold your money. The average fee is around $14 a month, which doesn't sound like much, but it adds up to nearly $170 a year. Of course, the bank will happily waive this fee if you meet certain rules. The most common one, keeping a minimum balance which can be anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s. This creates a cruel catch-22. The very people who need a basic, free way to manage their money are the ones least likely to meet these minimums. If you're a gig worker with a fluctuating income, a student, or someone who just lost their job, keeping $1,500 locked away in a checking account can be impossible. So what happens? You dip below the minimum for a single day, and boom, you're hit with a fee. That fee then makes it even harder to get back above the minimum for next month, creating a downward spiral. It is, by definition, a system that penalizes you for not having enough money. This fee structure gives banks an incredibly stable source of income, especially when the economy is weak and their other profit centers, like loan interest, are shrinking. When people are struggling, these fees become an even more reliable cash cow. And don't be fooled by so-called free checking accounts. Over a third of checking accounts are advertised as free, but that freedom often comes with strings attached. It might require a direct deposit, which not everyone has, or linking other accounts. The moment your situation changes, say you lose that job with direct deposit, the fees come roaring back. It's a penalty box disguised as a free service. This is the big one, the engine at the heart of the modern banking machine, the credit card. We're told it's for convenience and emergencies, a way to build credit. For millions, what it really is a high-speed conveyor belt into a lifetime of debt. As of late 2025, Americans were carrying a jaw-dropping $1.23 trillion in credit card debt. The average balance is over $6,500. But here's the most chilling stat. About half of all cardholders now carry a balance from month to month, believing that revolving debt is normal. This is not normal. It is a carefully constructed trap. The trap is the minimum payment. When your bill arrives, the bank highlights this small, totally manageable number. It feels like a relief. You can't pay the full $3,000, but you can definitely pay $75. But here's what they don't print in bold. Paying only the minimum is financial suicide. With the average credit card APR soaring to over 22%, if you make only minimum payments on that average $6,523 balance, it will take you nearly 8 years to pay it off, and you'll hand over an extra $7,688 in interest alone. You end up paying more than double for the things you bought years ago. Your debt just became the bank's retirement plan. And let's be clear, the banks love this. Their perfect customer isn't someone who pays their balance in full each month. To them, that person is a freeloader. They don't make any interest. Their perfect customer is someone who stays permanently in revolving debt, paying just enough to stay current, but never enough to escape. That person is a profit machine. The system is designed to get you there. They dangle low teaser rates that explode after a year. They raise your credit limit without you asking, creating the illusion of more spending power. They market credit not as a tool, but as a lifestyle. A recent survey showed that nearly a quarter of buy now, pay later users, a close cousin of credit cards, were using it for groceries. That's a giant red flag that debt is now being used for basic survival. This creates a dependency cycle. You use the card to cover expenses, the balance grows, the interest eats into your budget, leaving you with even less cash next month, forcing you to rely on the card even more. It's a revolving door, and the bank is holding it open, collecting a fee every time you pass through. This final trap is the biggest of all. It's not about one fee or one product, but the fundamental way the whole banking system is built. It's a concept called fractional reserve banking, and it's how banks legally create money out of nothing. Here's how it works. Simplified. You deposit $1,000 into your bank. You might think that $1,000 is sitting in a vault somewhere with your name on it. It's not. The bank is only required to keep a tiny fraction of your deposit on hand, the reserve. Historically, this was about 10%, but as of March 2020, the Federal Reserve set the reserve requirement to 0. Let's just use a 10% ratio to make the example clear. You deposit $1,000. The bank keeps $100 and lends out the other $900 to someone else, let's say for a car loan. That person pays the car dealership, and the dealership deposits that $900 into their bank. Now what happens? The second bank sees the $900 deposit, keeps 10%, $90, and lends out the remaining $810. That $810 gets spent and deposited into another bank, which then lends out 90% of it, and on and on. Look at what just happened. Your initial $1,000 deposit resulted in another $900, then another $810 being created out of thin air. This is the money multiplier effect. Your single deposit is the seed used to digitally create thousands of dollars in new loans all across the economy. And the banks collect interest on all of it. They are lending out money that was created by the very act of lending. To them, your deposit is a liability, money they owe you, but they use it as a raw material to create far more assets for themselves in the form of interest-generating loans. This is the bedrock of the entire system. It explains why banks are so desperate for your deposits. Your money isn't just sitting there, it's the fuel for their loan creation engine. The whole system is built on a mountain of debt, with every dollar of deposit being leveraged many times over to create more loans, more interest, and more profit for them. Okay, so the system is a labyrinth of fees and debt. It's intimidating. But understanding the traps is the first step to finding your way out. You can't win by playing their game, so you have to start playing a new one. Here's how. First, break up with your bank. If your bank is draining your account with monthly fees and overdraft charges, fire them. There are better options out there. Look into local credit unions. Since they're non-profit and owned by their members, their entire mission is different. They usually offer free checking with no strings attached, far lower fees, and better interest rates. Online-only banks are another great choice. They don't have the overhead from physical branches, so they pass the savings to you with zero fees and high-yield savings accounts. Plenty of banks now offer no overdraft fees and no monthly fees. You just have to vote with your feet. Second, master your cash flow. The overdraft and minimum balance traps only work when you have unexpected cash shortages. The antidote is a budget. I know, nobody loves that word, but it's just a plan for your money. Use a simple app or a spreadsheet. You need to know exactly what's coming in, what's going out, and when. Set up low balance alerts on your account so your phone tells you when you're in the danger zone. This isn't about being restrictive. It's about taking away the bank's power to profit from surprises. Third, destroy your high-interest debt. That revolving credit card door only spins one way until you stop it. Step 1 is to stop adding to the balance. Step 2 is to attack the principal with everything you have. Pay more than the minimum. Pay as much as you can. Pick a strategy, the avalanche method, paying off the highest interest card first, or the snowball method, paying off the smallest balance for a quick psychological win, and stick to it. Treat that credit card balance like the 5-alarm fire it is. Once it's gone, change how you see it. It's a payment tool, not extra money. Only charge what you can pay off in full at the end of the month. And finally, build your own safety net. The bank wants to sell you overdraft protection or a high-limit credit card as your safety net. That's a trap. A real safety net is an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account, ideally at a different bank, totally separate from your daily checking. This is your buffer. This is what saves you from a surprise car repair or a medical bill. When you have your own cash reserve, you break the dependency cycle. You no longer need their expensive protection because you've protected yourself. The system isn't broken. It was built this way on purpose. It was designed to turn your small financial slip-ups into consistent, reliable profits for the bank. From the overdraft fee that punishes a simple timing mistake to the minimum balance fee that taxes you for not having enough money, to the revolving credit card that turns a necessity into decades of debt. But these designs only work when you're playing by their rules, in the dark. Now, you know how the traps are set. You know that overdraft is a product, not just a penalty. You know that minimum balance fees are designed to push you into behavior that's more profitable for the bank. You know the minimum payment on a credit card is an invitation to a lifetime of interest payments. And you know the whole system is built on using your money to create a mountain of profitable debt. By moving your money, mastering your budget, killing your high-interest debt, and building your own emergency fund, you take back control. You stop being a source of easy profit and start becoming your own banker. The power isn't just in earning more money. The power is in understanding the game and refusing to be a pawn. It's time to start playing a new one. If you're ready to stop playing their game and start building real, lasting wealth, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We release videos every week that break down the systems designed to hold you back and give you the tools you need to win your financial freedom. What's the worst bank fee you've ever been hit with? Let us know in the comments below.